Hey guys, and welcome back to Picture This Film Reviews. I'm Dan,
And I'm Batman. No, I'm sorry, I'm Matt.
Batman.
Yes.
As Matt is indicating, we're kicking it off today with a super classic near and dear to especially Matt's heart, but all of our hearts. We're reviewing Batman 1989, starring Michael Keaton as the Batman himself. And also with some honorable mentions, we got to throw out as well. Who was our Joker, Mr. Matt?
That would be the iconic, the legendary Mr. Jack Nicholson.
Jack Nicholson. And I guess maybe in this episode we have a little bit of maybe after we talk about this movie, talk about who our favorite Jokers, Batmans, and things of that nature are. That might be
Mm.
a little fun to tag onto this, but definitely a huge star-studded cast. Really excited to get into review. The reason why we're doing this, what movie was coming up here soon, Matt?
The Flash this weekend, baby.
Oh, wow, The Flash. So I guess by the time this comes out, will it still be coming out, or will
Yeah,
it?
yeah. So my plan, we're a little behind the curtain for everybody. We're recording this on a Monday. My plan is to have this up by Wednesday. So this Thursday night or Friday, The Flash will be out to the world.
That is freaking awesome. We're excited to have you guys along this journey with us. We're really excited to see this movie. I know my wife and I are, and I know Matt especially has been waiting for years,
30
years
years.
for this to happen. So, um, I guess really without further ado, we're gonna kick it off to Matt for his review. Matt, what do you think about the movie?
um, when we were talking about Jack Nicholson, I just wanted to mention that if you wanted to really track this show down all the way to its roots, it really originated with two nerds in a movie, and I think that's what it was called. And our first one of the only like two episodes we did was about entirely about Jack Nicholson.
And not only just Jack Nicholson, but the amount of money. I think we had a little section devoted to what he made off of these movies, the
Oh
Batman. So crazy.
yeah, so that's in the archives on the YouTube page as well. So go track that down if you want. Shameless plug. Uh, Batman. What can I say that hasn't already been said a million times, or that I myself haven't already said a million times? I watched this movie at a very young age. I used to tell people I was four. Well, going through some home movies, I found my fourth birthday party, and it was a Batman Returns, the sequel to this movie, themed party, which tells me that I was younger than four when I watched this. And I have the memory. So that means I was three probably. And I remember it's one of that makes it the very first memory I probably have being alive, if I'm being honest. Because everything obviously we remember as a kid, things are shuffled around. You don't really know when happened when, or what happened when. And so I always thought I knew this was one of the earliest memories I had, but I didn't know it was that early. So that makes it probably the earliest, which is that much cooler. Our grandfather, introduced me to this movie at a very young age, and he said, "Hey, have you ever seen Batman?" And I said, "What's Batman?" And and he proceeded to sit me down in front of his television in the same living room that he lives in now, and put in his tape that is now in my possession, his VHS tape of Batman, the 1989 film. He stuck it in the player, and I watched it, and I have watched it ever since then on repeat, multiple times a year. To this day, still multiple times a year. Uh, as a kid, I watched it over and over and over. It would end, I would hit rewind, and I'd watch it again. Um, I was enthralled by it. I still am. I said I wasn't going to go too long on this because I could take up the whole 20-ish minutes that we're trying to allow ourselves. Um, there's a reason that Michael Keaton is the one coming back for the Flash. There is. It's not Christian Bale. It's not Val Kilmer. It's not George Clooney. It's not Well, it is Ben Affleck. So kudos to Ben Affleck. But there's a reason that Keaton's the one. He made such an impact when he first got casted in this movie. Everyone crapped on the idea. Mr. Mom can't be Batman. What do you, the guy that just played Beetlejuice last year? No way. Tim Burton promised a serious dark Batman. Up until this point, it had never been done. The only on-screen Batman that we had was the 1966 television series with Adam West as Batman. The pow, wham, slam, whopper, not the Burger King Whopper, but you know, so fans were excited. Oh, we're gonna get a dark Batman like the comic books, and then they cast Michael Keaton, who nowadays that's a big thing. Then not so much. Warner Brothers got fan letters, thousands of fan letters demanding that Keaton be recast. And they did not. Tim Burton stuck with his gut. And as soon as they released the first trailer, everybody shut up. And now, more than 30 years later, he is returning in The Flash. This is a great movie. Everything about it. The cast, like you mentioned, Jack Nicholson, Kim Basinger, Alfred, Michael Guff, Pat Hingles, Commissioner Gordon, Robert Wool is Alexander Knox, the reporter. It's a fantastic cast. Everyone does a stellar job. I'm just going to stop there because I want to give others a turn.
I honestly, guys, knowing Matt as long as I have, I'm just blown away that he literally just said, that little piece. He really didn't really get into the movie other than the fact that he loved it. So I guess it's up to me to kind of break down, the movie. So for those of you who haven't seen the 1989 Batman before, maybe you're coming to this because you're going to go see The Flash in theaters and kind of want to get a background for the Batman that you're going to see. I'm going to be completely honest with you. I'm a huge Tim Burton fan. Honestly, to me, this does not feel like a Tim Burton movie. In some regards, it does. But in a lot of ways, like a lot of things I've known him for are more cartoonish. They're out there. I mean, you were just talking about Beetlejuice. Huge fan, Nightmare Before Christmas. It is dark. It is dingy. It is Michael Keaton. It is Danny Elfman. It is a lot of these things that he brings to the table when he goes to other movies. But darn, Michael Keaton was the perfect casting choice for Batman. And you're exactly right. Kayla is a huge fan of Mr. Mom. I like that movie as well. It's an entirely different role, and he kills it. If you're looking for a movie that's going to put you at the edge of your seat, wondering what's going to happen, if you're looking for a Batman or even a Bruce Wayne that's believable, and I tell you what, ever since Michael Keaton's Batman, to me, it's kind of a polarizing thing. Like you've had good Bruce Waynes where they haven't been good Batmans. You've had good Batmans where they haven't been good Bruce Waynes. He's like the total package rolled out. And it's funny to me. I'm talking to Matt. I was like, wait a minute, is that the same Alfred that's in these other movies? Apparently, it is. So huge kudos to him to being a part of that. But back to this movie, in particular, between Michael Keaton and the villain, I'm sorry, Batman and the villain Joker. I think they did a wonderful job building up the backstory to this. I think a lot of it was taken from the Killing Joke and then another comment or comic to kind of give him his backstory. But we have a Joker here that has a criminal gangster background. And not only that, but he's completely unhinged. Jack Nicholson does a great job in this role portraying that. He is a wild madman. He just, from the time his face, like the nerves in his face are severed, even before that, you get the sense that he is unhinged. And the whole thing, my favorite part of this whole movie with him, a lot of folks will point to is like it's iconic where he says, "You ever dance with the devil in the pale moonlight?" Eventually, Batman gives it back to him. You ever dance with the devil in the pale moonlight? But on this, my favorite part is when he's talking to his mob boss. What's his name, Matt? The guy that was in charge before.
Grissom.
Grissom, right? So he's talking to Grissom. And he's like, "Jack, you're my number one man or my number one guy."
Yeah.
And then he sets him up He tried, and that's where ultimately the accident happens. He falls into the vat of acid, and his skin starts turning white and everything. And he gets out, and the guy Bob is pretty much Joker's right hand, and he's like holding him. He's like, "Hey Bob, you're my number one guy," and it's great. And it's believable. And to me, it's one of those moments I don't think they delved into it a lot in this movie. I wish they would have just a bit more. You see the background, and they didn't overdo it, in my opinion. The origin story for Batman, like they showed you, they're in the dark alley, his parents get killed, and then it's kind of played out that okay, this was the guy that kills Bruce Wayne's parents, and he's talking to Joker. And one thing that you got to think about Batman, he really doesn't kill anybody, right? And then he's telling Jack Napier or the Joker is like, I'm going to kill you.
Yeah.
And in the end of the movie, he does die. And
Yeah.
in the end, it's like like in the end. But there's a lot of action. I think that the romance, it was involved, but it wasn't over the top. Kayla might disagree with me on that part. I'm not 100% sure. But overall, like the aesthetic was there. Jack Nicholson's Joker took a lot from, I believe, the original Jokers out of the 1960 series with Adam West of purple, and I'm sure that was in the comics as well. The face style, the painting, the cowl, the costume design, the Batmobile, everything aesthetically in this movie is just so spot on and iconic. Like when I think of the Batmobile, that's the Batmobile I think of.
And the score, not to cut you off, but the score, Danny Elfman's theme is the theme that everyone I think thinks of when they think of Batman. Like that, da 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 da. That is iconic Batman. Like you don't think Batman without thinking that song. And that's another reason I'm so hyped for the Flash, because we're gonna get that theme music again in a movie, which is awesome.
And you can't leave out Prince.
And
Prince,
Kayla went out
Prince did a whole album of Batman music.
Yes.
Was it 6 or 7 songs that he has? 6 songs on that. Yeah.
A lot of which were featured in the movie.
Yes, yeah, it was amazing. I was like, is this Prince?
Yeah.
Can you pick her up from all the way back there with this microphone?
I can hear. Yeah, I can hear. Yeah.
Over the sound of the air conditioning, which I hope isn't like too annoying.
I don't hear the AC. I
That's
hear her. It's a good mic.
Yeah, it's nice. I can't imagine. We are matching. We're Mike brothers here. So
Twinsies.
but I'm not gonna let this die. If we go over 20 minutes, we go over 20 minutes. I'm gonna kick it back to you, Matt, because I'm sure there's some things that you want to add.
Well, did Kayla want to speak?
Yeah, she wants the Blur. You're not on Blur. So if you come over here, you're gonna be in real life.
We're in real life.
My jammies. So no, I mean Dan prior to recording had said pretty much what I was going to say, actually. But I will start off on a different note, and I might be like a little bit of a minute tangent right now. But okay, so prior to this whole film club stuff, I did not like Michael Keaton.
I remember.
Could not stand his face. And then we had to watch Mr. Mom, and then Mr. Mom became one of these, movies that I think about quite often as being like such a great example of film, right? And then what was the other one we watched? Duplicity,
Yeah.
was it called? Multiplicity.
Yeah.
And then I'm just like, wow, Michael Keaton is actually a fantastic actor. Like I need to get away from these preconceived, notions that this dude sucks. Like I don't even know where they came from. But anyway, I think Michael Keaton, after watching what I watched last night, to me is actually the perfect Batman. And
It's gonna make me cry.
you look at him and I don't know, like at first glance you're like, no, but then you actually see him in costume and you see him portraying Bruce Wayne.
Not to interrupt, but I think Kayla had stated this during the movie. Is like the man is like what, 5'7", 5'8",
5'10".
5'10".
I don't know what he is now. I don't know what he is now, but at the time of this, he was 5'10".
Yeah, I don't know. Like you, like you said, glancing at him first, opinions, whatever, you're like, you don't know. But I mean, he fits his character perfectly. I don't think, in my opinion, there's a better Batman. And, I used to be like, oh, I love Ben Affleck, this new iteration of Batman. But no, I'm sorry. Michael Keaton takes it. and I'm actually glad they're bringing him back because it's a true portrayal of Batman. It's
Well, it's
well
about
done.
time. And no offense to Ben Affleck, but a true aged older Batman.
Hold on, and I have to put it in there. Michael Keaton with some glasses on. It doesn't get much better. I'm just saying. Just saying, Michael Keaton, 1989.
Thank you for that
Yeah.
input.
That's great. I'm glad you guys both enjoyed it. What do you just a question? Do you intend to watch Batman Returns? Or no?
I think at this point, like she's gonna have to.
It's not in the same style. Like Warner Brothers gave Tim Burton full creative control and said, because Tim didn't want to do another one. And they said, well, what if we let you do it however you want to do it? So in the way that Batman is Tim Burton's movie, and you see all these Tim Burton like things, but like Dan said, it didn't really feel like a Tim Burton movie. You watch Batman Returns and it feels like a Tim Burton movie. It is all the Burton tropes that you can think of are in Batman Returns.
But does it keep like continuity wise? Like
it does. There's mention of Vicky, Kim Basinger's character, that only mentioned, she's not in it. But Michael Keaton returns, Michael Gough as Alfred returns, Pat Hingle as Commissioner Gordon returns. But it just tells a new story, and it doesn't really acknowledge the prior. It only acknowledges it just a little bit, just enough so you're like, okay, this is a sequel.
Same universe,
yeah. I don't think it's necessary before the Flash, but I was just curious, since you liked it, you liked his Batman. Maybe the suit. I like the suit in Returns better. I think it's sleeker, and the suit in the Flash is more modeled, from what I can tell, after the Return suit than it is the '89 suit.
He did seem like he was having some difficulties in certain scenes with the cowl, like on his face. I don't know if you pick up on that.
Like as far as what?
As far as like a movie, like the fit against his face.
Yeah, it does. It fits really weird in that first movie, and that's what I don't like. Like the Returns, the second movie, it's a lot tighter. It looks a lot like I already used this word, but sleeker is the only word I can think of that makes sense.
And I know she's all about it for Michael Keaton now, but I'd say like it's good to watch just for like Danny DeVito too.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, and the craziness that you get from the Joker, you get out of Danny DeVinguin's. Danny DeVinguin's.
Danny DeVinguin, yeah.
New actor, Danny DeVinguin. Danny DeVito's Penguin. Jeez. And Michelle Pfeiffer's Catwoman. Yeah, it's an equally great movie, but a totally different tone of movie, and it's a little darker. Kids could probably watch, but it's a little it pushes the envelope a little bit as far as like violence. But Batman, this movie, I had nothing. It's let's just go into ratings and then I'll give my final thoughts. This is obviously a 5-star movie. There is nothing. This is a perfect movie from start to finish for me. Like Kayla said, and I think you might have also said it, Michael Keaton is the perfect Batman. That doesn't take away from the others. I think each of them brings something different to the character, kind of like James Bond or enter any other character that might have been replaced by other actors. They each bring something different. But like James Bond, in the way that Connery is the OG, and there's just that, without him there's no future movies. Without Keaton and what they accomplished in this movie, you don't get a lot of the other stuff. You don't even probably get the deeper Batman voice. That was not in the script and had never been done before. If you watch the Adam West stuff, Adam West doesn't change his voice when he's Batman versus Bruce Wayne. That was a Michael Keaton creative decision. He did it when he first was rehearsing. Tim Burton liked it and said, "What are you doing with your voice?" And Keaton was like, "Well, I figure, this guy's like trying to disguise himself, and why would he talk the same as Batman as he would as Bruce Wayne?" So that was 100% a Michael Keaton decision that has now gone on to animated series every other single Batman, except for George Clooney, every other single Batman movie, the Batman has a deeper "I'm Batman" type voice. And if you're Christian Bale, but that, none of that exists without this movie. So it's just, and I could go on. 5 stars, perfect movie. Can't wait for this weekend. Been waiting since I was a child for Michael Keaton to be in another Batman movie. So that's all I got. What about you?
I'm really gonna hurt your feelings here, Matt. I don't want to be the one, but I'm gonna have to agree with you all over again. I think it's gonna be a 5 star out of 5 star. I mean, it's a great movie. It's one of my favorite directors that's at the helm, and I think that they did a really good job creatively with it. Which now I'm finding out he didn't have full creative control, so it kind of makes sense to my earlier comments. So thank you for bringing that to my attention. And truthfully, I couldn't agree with you more. As far as Michael Keaton, you look back at the character, you look back at the what everything aesthetically was, you look at the environment. I mean, they really set the tone for Batman and every Batman that came after it. And really, in order to be better, you'd have a huge, huge jump to make. So kudos to all the folks involved. And you're exactly right, down to the musical scoring. Everything was it's just iconic. And it's something looking back on your childhood that movie does stick out. And I mean, for us, the toys that we played with, it was more of like a cultural thing than really anything else in that time. So maybe Jurassic Park, but outside that, the 2 biggest things. So I agree. Now I'm rambling. 5 out of
Good stuff. Does Kayla have a star rating she'd like to throw up?
99.
4.99 out of 5. She give it. Why 0.99? Oh, she doesn't want to be like us.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Break it up, so it's not this.
All right. Well, okay. Well, that's it. I don't think there's anything more we can say. I mean, if you're watching this, chances are you've seen this movie. There's nothing else that we can say that's going to make you go watch this, other than maybe go rewatch it. I encourage you. I just rewatched it. We both just rewatched it. I think it still holds up. It's still fantastic. It really hasn't aged. I mean, really, I don't, but maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think it's aged very much. Like, it feels.
The part that feels like it might be like out of place is when he's falling off the building and they look down, the shot at him falling. It looks like maybe some CGI or however they did that effect has dated a little bit, but overall, like we were talking about before, just aesthetically, it's really, and maybe the Batmobile when it armors up. But outside of that, I think it's great and it's standing the test of time. And even it fits because it's supposed to be modeled after comic book anyway. So I feel like you're allowed to have some liberties on that kind of stuff. So absolutely.
Well, that's all she wrote for this episode, boys and girls.
Now hold on, Matt.
That's right.
Actually here. If there are folks that are actually here for us and care about what we think, which if you are, awesome. Cool. But my question to you stands. Well, let's change this up a little bit.
Yeah.
Across all movies, we already know your favorite Batman is Michael Keaton. There's no sense of getting into that. So I want to know your second favorite, and also who your favorite villain across all the Batman live action has been thus far, and what iteration. So if it is Joker, you need to be specific. Is it Jack Nicholson? Is it Heath Ledger? If we're talking about Mr. Freeze, or only, unless you're talking about the TV show. We talk about the TV shows.
TV show's great. The TV show deserves its own episode of this. I'll give you guys like 10 episodes. They're like 25 minutes long. Give you guys like 10 episodes to watch the TV show. We do a whole episode on the TV show. I nerd out when it comes to Batman. That's my nerddom. So best Batman. No. Okay. So I look at it, I think I'm not the one that goes, "Oh, Michael Keaton's the best Batman." Michael Keaton, he is, but Michael Keaton is, for argument's sake, my favorite Batman. Um, do I think? No, I'll say it. Michael Keaton's the best Batman, hands down. Um, who has the best movie? I I lean towards The Dark Knight. I think The Dark Knight is the better movie as far as like which Batman movie is the best Batman movie ever. I think The Dark Knight. It doesn't get really any better than that movie. But this 89 film is right up there, right on its tail, really. Second best Batman, you said Christian Bale. I think Christian Bale took a dying franchise and revived it. If you don't have him and you have another actor, I don't know that those movies become as big as they were. And really, okay, so I'll rank them. Keaton, and I gotta think who did it. Keaton, Bale, Kilmer, maybe controversial there. Kilmer, Affleck, I forgot all about Robert Pattinson. Oh gosh, this is hard.
I'm not sure we've seen enough of Robert to be like, I mean, it
Yeah,
was good because it holds.
Man, like
the movie was fantastic. But as far as like, yeah, I agree. Like the movie is up there too with this and The Dark Knight. I think it's a fantastic movie.
but again, that's one that focuses purely on the Batman
So
over Bruce Wayne part
yeah,
of it.
so I'll keep what I got for now. Keaton, Bale, uh, Kilmer, Affleck, Pattinson, West,
Oh,
Clooney.
dang.
And if I wanted to just throw the animated voice, Kevin Conroy, rest in peace. He is the voice of Batman in my head whenever I read a comic. He would be probably realistically right behind Michael Keaton. He would be the actual number two. Villain, I'm going to wrap this up so you can go. Favorite villain is the Joker. It just, you don't have Batman without the Joker. You just can't do it. People were like, "Oh, we always get the Joker in a movie." Well, yeah, but there's a reason for that. I mean, yeah, Batman's got a slew of great villains, more than other superheroes. Like, has a big play box of villains you can pull from. But Joker is the iconic villain. So
That's what I liked about this movie. Now that you're saying this, coming back to it, is how they each kind of created each other.
yeah, and that was a creative choice that happened only in this movie. Like, there's no other iteration of the characters where Joker kills Batman's parents. That was only a 89 Batman movie decision, which I think adds to it and creates that hatred and that dynamic between the two characters even more. I always said Heath Ledger was the best Joker. I mean, he won an Oscar for it, right? Of course, so did Joaquin Phoenix. Although I just watched this again and I don't think anybody does it better than Jack, but they're two totally different versions of the character. Whereas Ledger and Phoenix are kind of the same, dark, moody, like, this guy's gonna kill me. Jax was more like the mobster, the clown, the funny guy, the prankster. Yeah, he's still gonna kill you, but he's gonna have a good time doing it. So I can't. I'll just be mumbling and rambling. I can't pick between. They're two totally different versions. I love Jack Nicholson equally as much as I love Heath Ledger's Joker. I think they both bring something totally dynamically different to the character.
Well, since you put it out there, I'm going to do the rating of the Batman as well. I mean, honestly, my top pick is Christian Bale. I don't know why, but it's just like the military style. It's like all action, gung ho. Just feels to me just a touch more. My number two spot going to Michael Keaton. Number three, I got to put my boy R. Pats. 'Cause I don't know, man. I think he's doing great. I'm excited to see where the next one goes. So there I am. After that one, probably Val Kilmer, and then after that one, Adam West. Then we're getting into I'm gonna mess you up, George Clooney
Over Ben
over
Affleck.
Ben Affleck. Oh yeah, Ben Affleck's my least favorite. I despise it. I don't know why.
Really?
Yeah, he is not. I just
And
don't like it.
really, he's, I mean, arguably, really though, he's the closest to the actual comic book that we've had.
Maybe I just wouldn't be a fan of the comic book iteration. I don't know.
That's why.
Yeah, maybe it is a bias. I'm not a fan of Ben Affleck. If he ever watches this show, I'm gonna feel really bad. Like, not really. I won't feel bad. I honestly, it's just not my cup of tea. I don't know why. It just doesn't sit with me well. But my favorite villain. I'm gonna probably be controversial with this. Growing up, playing with the toys and everything.
I
My
know where this is
favorite.
going. I know where this is going.
I love the Riddler,
Yep.
man. And it's hard. It's hard for me too, just like it's hard for you choosing. Like, I mean, Jim Carrey, like he had that wild thing going on, but this new generation, this Paul Dano Riddler was just to me so it wasn't it wasn't just crazy, it was scary and suspenseful. And I think that's what like added to the lore of that for me. So as far as the villains, and I mean, there's like you said, there's great ones. Bane was
Yeah.
crazy,
Yeah.
like in that series, and I agree. The Jokers, it's hard to pick
The
between the two.
Scarecrow, Two-Face. I mean, you name it. Batman's got more classic villains than probably any other superhero.
So he's got enough source material to keep movies churning well past our dates of expiration, and that's just the truth of it. So, but overall, man, yeah, I agree. But Paul Dano's going to take the top villain spot for me. It was just so methodical, the plan that was laid out, and I think that's what really kind of did it for me because I mean, it just kept me in the story the whole entire time. But overall, yeah, it's where we are, and I'm really glad we got to talk about this a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, from the people watching this, if you stuck around for this part, let us know who your favorite villain is. Let us know who your favorite Batman is. If you could have a movie taking your favorite Batman and your favorite, villain and putting them up against each other, who would it be? Who would it be? And
Yeah.
maybe some of
And
these
now
villains.
I was gonna say, now with this multiverse stuff, I mean, some of that could maybe even happen one day. What if we get like Michael Keaton versus Paul Dano's Riddler? like that would be wild, right?
Well, yeah, that's what like Kayla's saying with AI and everything coming into the game and people selling rights to their images and stuff like this. I mean, ultimately, it might come down to one day that you're able to click a button, tell the computer what type of movie you want to watch, and boom, it generates a movie for you. And that's scary to think, but I mean, we're getting closer to that as reality. As long as they can make money off of it, they're gonna find a way. They're like find a way.
And James Gunn, just another aspect that really might not be in anyone's mind right now. James Gunn, former Marvel James Gunn, is now in charge at DC. And he was asked on Twitter, do you think we'll ever see a Marvel versus DC crossover? And he said, talks have been had.
So he still has that much pull at Marvel Studios that you think he's got enough juice to make that happen?
I don't think it's going to happen right away, but I think within the next 4 to 5 years, we'll be seeing a Marvel DC crossover as long as everything works out with James Gunn's plan.
Playing it's a 2007.
Was Siri chiming in?
No, my I guess Cortana actually just picked on
Cortana. Okay.
Yeah, she's the assistant for Windows.
Yes, I have her as well. Yes. Okay. Well, again, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for listening to us. Thank you for always tuning in. Thank you for subscribing. Our new subscribers, we love you. We thank you. Leave us comments. Let us know what you want us to talk about. We just did an Evil Dead Rise for a fan request. Someone wanted us to talk about it. So let us know what you want us to talk about. Dan, take that scary look off your face. It's weird and creepy. Everybody have a great week. Love one another.
Bye, guys.